Well, Russ, obviously disappointing few days really, because you're on such a good run, and not so much the results, but I guess you were a bit concerned about the performance, particularly in Boston.
Disappointing day. Yeah, we were all disappointed that we lost and we're out of the competition. But we've quickly dusted ourselves down and we'll go again, and looking forward to the Christmas period.
I mean, it was extremely unlikely you were going to go through the whole season unbeaten, was it? There's always going to be a dip somewhere along the line.
Like you said, performance wasn't anywhere near good enough. But sometimes, you've got to pull the positives out of it and hit the reset button and go again. Our form has been fantastic of late, scoring plenty of goals, and we just weren't at it last week. And listen, it happens in football, and we move on.
Yes, the positives are 12 or 13 games unbeaten, really.
Yeah, it was. What I will say, last week it was a tough old week in terms of travelling and the games against the opposition we played. But getting 4 points out of 2 games in the league was a great turnaround for us at 2 difficult places, and we'll take that form into the Christmas period.
It's interesting actually, you mentioned the travelling, and I'm sure some people listening think, well, yeah, they're professional footballers, so the travelling is part of it, but it does disrupt your week, doesn't it? You've got long trips to Boston, then Curzon, then Boston again. Yeah,
I'm not one for making excuses, and this isn't an excuse. But if it was a league, you wouldn't have had them fixtures next to each other. The Curzon game's been rearranged, and you wouldn't have had played Boston the week after away after such a long journey. So it does hamper your week. You've got to go into a different kind of preparation. Because travelling does mean a lot, really, especially when you're going around the windy roads to Boston. But listen, that wasn't why we lost the game. It was just a tough week physically for a lot of the players. We've recharged and we'll go again.
Understandably, you chose to freshen things up a bit. Second game at Boston in the trophy. Were you pleased by the way some of those players that came in responded?
I think as a whole group, the whole squad and the staff, we weren't at it on Saturday. You do get them games. Fortunately for us, we haven't lost any points from it. We're disappointed we're not in the next round, but there's nothing we can do now, and we'll reflect and we'll move on.
As you say, hitting the reset button, but also at times, if you like to reflect on the season so far, and you've got to be chuffed to bits with how it's going, really.
I'm delighted, and I'm delighted we're going into a busy period now where there's lots of points up for grabs, and to kick-start the new year. I think I would have snapped your hand off to be where we are this time of the season, in 4th place with a game in hand. Scored the amount of goals we scored, looked solid, looked disciplined, and we've got to continue that form. Under no means we've got to be at it every single game, and we've got to prepare right.
It's having had a frantic week, you've got a long week. I know obviously Christmas Day comes in the middle of it, but generally you've got a much longer lead into the Hereford game then.
Yeah, it's there's only a couple of games played tonight, so I think everyone's got the same rest. And then you've got the busy period of the Sunday and the Tuesday game, and then you're going into the New Year's Day and the second games. So all preparation has got to be on those 3 games really, and how we get as many points as we can. But first and foremost, it's Hereford on Boxing Day at home.
When you were a player, did you like this time of day, this time of year rather? Because I've interviewed many players over the years. Some love it, others think, 3 games in 8 days or whatever it is. I
did like it. I've known no different in all my career. Football's at its best over Christmas. Good crowds, festive period, bigger crowds. And listen, the players get enough time in the off-season to celebrate and to enjoy themselves. But I think as a footballer, it's the norm, so it's no different to how we prepare.
I know you're going to tell me it's all about what you do, but a word about Hereford. If they started the season slowly, they would freely admit that, but they do seem to have picked up a bit since then.
Yeah, good team, and we've got to be on it on Sunday, like we do at every game. There's always got to be that added spice because there's a decent crowd here, but we're looking forward to it and can't wait.
There's a sizable ex-Harriers contingent at Hereford now as well.
Always has been and always will be. So, like I said, I think this group don't really know a lot of the old players anyway, so I don't think there's anything there. But it's a local derby, everyone loves local derbies, so it's great, isn't it?
Both sides like to get it down and play. You've got a brilliant pitch out there, so there's no excuse really for either side.
No, I'm looking for both games, home and away. I think these are the games that you look at on the calendar. Fortunately for us and them, it's always over the Christmas period, so you get a good gaze, great atmosphere, and this is what we play football for. And if you can't enjoy these games, there's no point in winning the game. So we're going to go out there to win on Sunday, and we'll do our most to do that.
The rest of your week, presumably you give them a day off on Christmas Day, hopefully, but aside from that, are you training stuff up until Christmas Eve?
Up until Boxing Day, yeah. Obviously the lads have the Christmas Day. You know, I've always had that as a player. Most clubs do it, some clubs don't, and we'll prepare as normal. We've got a couple of days leading up to that. But you know, the lads are recovered now from a long week last week, and you know, all willing to go.
And you will know better than I do that obviously over the festive period now, as you mentioned, 3 games in rapid order, lots of points up for grabs. Yeah. You could give yourself a really good platform here heading into the new year. Yeah,
everyone's got to say the same, but if we look at ourselves, you know, there's 9 points up for grabs. The first 3 points is all we can get at Hereford at Boxing Day. They'll be looking for exactly the same, and you take it 1 game at a time, and we'll worry about it after. I think we're going into a January full of home games. I think we've desperately missed a home game in the last 6 weeks in the league. So another thing to look forward to around the corner.
And just before I ask you about the injuries, the league overall this time, I think we've touched on this, you know, a couple of months back. Sometimes in this division, you look at 1 or 2 clubs, you think, yeah, they're there for the taking, but it doesn't seem to be that way this time.
No, it's a tough league. If you speak to anyone who knows the level, they just say how ruthless and robust it is. There's no gimmies anywhere, and that's why we all enjoy playing in it. You know, you look at the fixtures every week, and you couldn't pick a winner sometimes, and you think you've picked one, and it's spun around. So that's why the most consistent teams do well and get promoted, and hopefully we can be in that mix.
Injury-wise, you did freshen up, as I mentioned last week. It was good to see Joe Forbes back in the mix, incidentally, but how did you come through the Boston game?
All good. Everyone's trained today, so touch wood, everyone's fully fit going into the second part of the week.